what is the difference between a godly worldview of sexuality and the current American Western cultural worldview of sexuality? To your point, right? Because to some people, it might say pornography is a helpful sexual aid. Some people believe that or are using it as such, but that isn't our worldview. So, what help us unpack? What are some of these differences?
Yeah, I mean, if I watch the movie Inception and I watch the elevator scene where everything's in slow motion and they're fighting, and it's like what you're watching is a augmented version of reality that has CGI and editing. There's actors that are playing out a script. There's a director. There's financial provision on the other side. And I say all that to say is pornography is a augmented variation of something that has no intention to depict intimacy and everything to create fantasy.
Hmm.
So it's two people who are being compensated for being there. And if they're there, and in my personal experience, so as you guys know, if your audience might not know, I was in the industry. I was in the industry for well over 6 years. And I saw this play out time in and time out where the people who were there, if you truly press them, and you could see in their hearts of hearts, they didn't want to be there. Like no one ends up on a porn set because this is my dream.
For
Because
sure.
even if you would say that out loud, that's not what you believe in your heart. Like no one sets out to be on a set where they're being observed and manipulated to do something that was meant to be intimate. I love to use the example of if someone sent you something inappropriate, where there was a naked photo that popped up on your phone and you were in a public place. Regardless of your theological like stance, if someone sent you that, the first thing you would do is you would put your phone down because there's something instinctual where you know that there's a God that written on your heart that there's something intimate about sexuality. And yeah, the more that we know about that, the more that we can experience it God's way. But I think saying that they are similar even is really missing the point. I would say they're polar opposites.
Hmm.
I would say they're as far removed as lust as from love. Like lust is not a picture of what love could be. It's a polar opposite. It's like red and whatever the opposite of red would be, green. It's like this polar opposites because that's about consumption. It's about taking. It's about all these things. It's about performance. It has nothing to do with this sacrificial gift of sex that God calls us into to celebrate one another, to experience intimacy, to worship Him, and to connect with one another in a way that is unique, where there's chemical bonding. There's things happening neurologically and physically that make you more connected to that person. Yet this other variation of consuming, these pixels on a screen, it actually makes me more disconnected from that person because I'm supposed to love people and use things, yet I find
Hmm.
myself using people and loving things
Yeah.
because I'm learning to commodify them. Sorry, I could go off on a tangent,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, it's a drastic different picture of what it was created to be. So that like why is that problematic? Well, you're learning it's something it's not.
Yeah, as you were sharing that, it made me think of we've had Sheila Ray Gregoire on the podcast a few times, and I've heard her say, there's many couples out there that they have not had sex. They call it sex, but what they've had is intercourse. They've had the physical bodily connection, but
Yeah.
sex is meant to be, as you said, intimate, God honoring, even an act of worship. And so many couples haven't understood what real sex is about. They're just having intercourse, and I think it's an invitation to go deeper. The couple of things I see, kind of a difference between what our cultural worldview offers us and what I would say is biblical. I think our culture treats sex like the appetizer. It puts it at the beginning. It's like, well, have fun, see if you're compatible. And if it's really good, then maybe consider going deeper into the relationship where Scripture so clearly presents sex as the dessert, as the kind of the outcome of a
Yeah.
committed, relationship where a couple has entered into that marriage covenant. They're already developing deep emotional, relational intimacy, and now the physical intimacy is building on that as the kind of outcome of their relationship. So really, biblically, it's more like the dessert of the relationship, not the appetizer. And the other thing I feel like our culture offers us is it treats sex like a necessity. We
Yeah.
need air to breathe, water to drink, and we have to have sex. And if you don't have sex, like you're practically
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah.
Where I really believe the biblical worldview shows sex as a form of intimacy and would remind us that we can have deep, meaningful intimacy without ever being married. The Bible
Man.
presents a view of singleness that has been totally lost today, where it's just as valid, biblically speaking, to be single for life as it is to be married and to experience deep intimacy with God and others in either way. But the married couple adds physical intimacy. And so I
Yeah.
think seeing that as, I don't want to say biblically it's optional, but biblically it's treated as one of the forms of intimacy, not, like air we breathe and water we drink.
Yeah, Joshua,
Yeah.
I was married just 40 days ago, so this is all
You
like a
got a
very
newbie in the room,
yeah.
Joshua.
All right, let's go.
This is all very
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all very new to me. And both my
Yeah.
wife and I entered into marriage having not had sex before. And it was really profound to me. I remember thinking, man, covenant that night as we got to be with one another for the first time. I'm like, covenant is truly the only place that could hold this level of vulnerability and
Yeah.
intimacy, from a body to body standpoint. I just remember being so grateful. I'm like, there's no fear, there's no shame. There's
Yeah.
just such trust and commitment and excitement and honor. And I had read, Julie Slattery at one of our summits had read through 1 Corinthians 13. So even that day, just reading through and thinking about what is love, even in the context of the bedroom, how do these character traits show up even in the realm of sexuality? And
Yeah.
I don't know, Josh, do you know Forrest Frank? Like, have you connected with him at all, like personally?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm assuming that was probably true. I remember there was a clip on YouTube,
Yeah.
and goodness, I
I know,
wish
I
this.
know what you're going to say. So powerful, man.
Yeah, I wish this clip, and maybe we can link it in the show notes, but just he was tearful as he was describing a moment with his wife early on in marriage where he had either had done something or had suggested something in the bedroom, and he's in his, 30s. And she said, "Where did you learn that?"
Yeah.
And he just kind of broke down. He's like, "Pornography. Like pornography taught me that." And she's like that, I don't want that, or like that's not honoring. And I don't know what that context was, but just like, I think that is the cultural moment we
Yeah.
find ourselves in, whether that's in your 20s or 30s or in your 50s and 60s, of like, what are we carrying in? Who has the final say, right? Is it the pornography or the cultural moment we find ourselves in, or is
Yeah.
it what God has to say about intimacy, sex,
Yeah,
and love?
that's powerful.
Yeah.